a second. I like that. Hey, welcome, folks. We've got a great Father's Day weekend. We're getting right back at it Monday. Manic Monday. Well, as you can see, 1776, I got it all over me today. I love this. I got my We the People. 4th of July is coming up. I want to start it right now. It is all about America on this show and what it's going to take to save the republic for which we stand, one nation under God. But before we do that, I want to bring Eric Thompson in. How are you doing, sir? And how do you like my shirt? Is that all right? It's my Dan Bongino look today.
It reminds me of the 80s. We would say you look spiffy.
Spiffy. Don't ever say that again. Spiffy. Oh, my gosh. Now you've really aged yourself. Well, I'll tell you, I hope you had a great Father's Day, Eric, because that's an important day. Fathers are a very, very important part of society. I hope yours was well.
Yeah, it went well. The kids are, as the older you get, the more you appreciate your kids and that they love you so much that they actually tolerated your learning how to be a dad, as you raise them. So yeah, I have good kids.
It's funny that you say that. Father's Day is a big deal in the world today. Just saying Father's Day, okay? Because in this cancel culture, woke culture, saying the word father, just obviously, I don't have to explain to you why that is. It's just ridiculous that they'll probably want to take that away as well. But the reality is that when you said that, there's no book to raise your kids. I mean, you just kind of, in a sense, especially in your first child, you're winging it, doing the best you can, and it's hard sometimes for sure. So all you men out there that stick with it, all you men out there that don't leave when the going gets tough, okay, all you men out there that believe in the oath that you took in your marriage, God bless you, and your kids. Hopefully they celebrated you and you celebrated them. It's a great thing. And so I hope you had a wonderful weekend. But again, I'm wearing my 1776 shirt because it's a big deal, folks. It is the Republic. The Republic is at stake right now. Okay. It's a fact. And always know you go to craigbouchon.com, AmericaICan.com. We're going to talk about the plaque over here we have on the wall, how you can get one and why it's going to be important that you sign up. And we'll talk about that as well a little bit on the show today. But there's a lot of stuff that's happened this last week, okay? And there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen this week. And know this, every single day, Monday through Friday, for one entire hour, aren't you blessed? One entire hour, from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock Eastern time, you tune into the show. But you can always archive it, always watch it later. And we're going to break up and Eric, we're going to break up some of these into smaller segments so people can see them, right? We'll put it up on our Spreely online and on the Craig Bouchon show, all that kind of stuff. Is that fair?
We'll have to break it by topic. That way they can get a little bites of what we're saying, because this hour is so full of awesome content. You'd have to kind of break it down into pieces.
Let's get right into it. Hey, if you didn't see it, Ted Cruz, friend of the show, he's a warrior out there, and we're going to get him on the show because I want to talk about these battles that are going on. Ted Cruz, if you go to craigbouchon.com, we have it posted up. Ted Cruz challenges Joe Biden to reveal the mystery source that provided him $10 million in 2017. And if you didn't see this, you have to see this. And it's a longer clip, by the way, and it's important that you watch it. And I normally wouldn't take this much time of the show to have you watch this or something like this, because it is long, but it's worth it, folks. This is a U.S. senator that is absolutely attacking. But then we're going to talk about, is that enough? We hear a lot of attacking and a lot of talking going on, but what are we going to do about it? And so let's go ahead and play that clip, and then we're going to talk about it.
For statutory changes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Ossoff. Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, every day when I'm home in Texas, I hear from Texans who are deeply dismayed about the growing politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. If you are not, every one of you should be deeply concerned about the damage being done to the integrity of the institutions in which you operate. My office hears regularly from FBI agents and from assistant U.S. attorneys who are likewise concerned about the politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI, and this is profoundly damaging to the rule of law in our nation. Last month, a whistleblower brought to light the existence in the FBI of a report, an FD 1023, in which the informant alleges that President Biden and his family members engaged in a $5 million bribery scheme during his time as vice president. Deputy Director Abate, is it true that the FBI has a report making those allegations?
I'm not going to comment on that, Senator.
And why is that?
I'm just not going to comment on information we received, investigations, or
You owe
ongoing
an
matters.
obligation to the American people to be candid about evidence of corruption by the President of the United States?
This is an area that I'm not going to get into with you, Senator.
Well, I understand you don't want to, and that's why people are mad at the FBI, because you're stonewalling and covering up serious allegations of evidence of corruption from the president. Yesterday, Senator Chuck Grassley stood on the Senate floor and alleged that there are 17 recordings of this informant from Burisma, Ukrainian natural gas company. 15 of them are recordings, voice recordings of him talking to Hunter Biden. 2 of them are voice recordings of him talking to Joe Biden. Deputy Director Abate, does the FBI have 17 voice recordings laying out evidence of a bribery scheme?
Senator, I would add also that we've worked with the House Oversight Committee.
Yeah, this is the Senate. We're the other
that
side
you
of the Capitol. This is the Senate. Do you have those 17 recordings?
I'm not going to comment on any investigative matters, Senator.
See, that's the problem. The FBI, and I've had this conversation with Chris Wray too, this is why you are damaging the institution. The American people have a right to know whether there is serious, credible evidence that the President of the United States took a $5 million bribe. And by the way, if it's false, Chairman Durbin just rolled his eyes. If Chairman Durbin were interested in the rule of law, we would have a hearing on these allegations. But of course, the Democrats don't want a hearing on these allegations. And to be clear, if the allegations are false, you know who could disprove them? Joe Biden. He could call for this to be released publicly. But the FBI is stonewalling. Would you agree?
Two things, Senator. No one's stonewalling. The 1023
You just said you refused to answer the
was
question.
provided in response to a subpoena.
Okay, then why'd you refuse to answer my question?
The pertinent information is there, and I reject your assertion that the FBI is politicized.
Why did you refuse to answer my question?
I just answered your question.
Okay, so yes, you have a 1023. Do you have the 17 recordings, yes or no?
I'm not going to get further into that.
So you're stonewalling. You can't say I'm not refusing to answer your question, but I won't answer your question.
I'm going to answer within the parameters that we operate in. Here.
That's the problem. The FBI has right now an unlimited hubris that you believe you are unaccountable. You don't believe you're accountable to the United States Congress, and you don't believe you're accountable to the American people.
That's right.
And you are doing damage. The FBI is a great institution. When I go home to Texas, people ask me, should we abolish the FBI? Now, I tell them no, because you have heroes and patriots working for you that are catching child predators, that are catching terrorists. But you're sitting there happily erecting a wall to protect Joe Biden. Will you provide to this committee, not the House, the Senate Judiciary Committee, will you provide the FD 1023 and will you provide the 17 recordings so we can assess what is the evidence, the specific credible evidence that Joe Biden personally took a $5 million bribe from a foreign national?
Senator, we will work with this committee, you and other members, to provide the information within the parameters of the process.
Will you provide the FD 1023, yes or no?
I will take that back and we will work with our
So you're not answering that. Will you provide the 17 recordings?
We will take that back and we'll work with you.
So you're not answering that either.
This
Did
is a
you
recording.
investigate in any way, shape, or form these allegations?
Senator, once again, I'm not going to comment.
So
on
you're not going to say
investigative-
whether you did your job?
We do our job to the very best of our ability.
Well, not here. You're not answering a single question to the American people. And you may think this is esoteric. I promise you, millions of Americans are concerned. You know who isn't concerned? Not a single Senate Democrat. We're going to go through this whole hearing. Not one Democrat will ask a question about this. You know who else isn't concerned? The corporate media, who is joining with the Democrats in covering up this evidence. If Joe Biden is innocent, the evidence should be made public and demonstrate that he's innocent. But if he is not, is it true this informant who alleged that he personally took a bribe was an informant the FBI had relied upon previously in other investigations? Yes or no?
Senator, in each and every investigation that we have, all the work that we do,
I asked you
the
yes or no
expectation
question.
is that every logical avenue investigation be pursued
I asked you a
to
yes
its
or no
fullest.
question. Are you going to answer it?
Yeah, I'm answering your question.
Was the informant one you had relied on previously in other investigations? Yes or no?
Senator, we run down every piece of information, every
You're not
lead,
answering it then. You're refusing to answer
objectively,
it. So you're refusing to answer the
to
question.
the fullest extent possible,
refusing to answer the
relentlessly,
question.
Is that
and
correct?
aggressively in all instances.
Senator, your
It's
time is
disgraceful. It's disgraceful, Deputy Director Abate.
Wow.
Disgraceful.
Well. Wow. That just wouldn't end. It just wouldn't end. Folks, this is the game. This is what they do. The whole reason that they'll investigate in this case is so they don't have to tell you anything. I can't talk. It's an ongoing investigation. That is why they will do an investigation, which you think is good news. Hey, they're investigating. It's all good. No, it should be. It should be good. But we're in tyrannical times, folks. We're in tyrannical times. And that is not an overstatement. That is not, there's no black helicopters flying around. Okay. The fact is, these are tyrannical times. We do not have a government that is working on behalf of we the people. Not the we the people of you and I. It's a specific number of people, okay, that they're working on behalf of, and they don't have our best interests in mind, okay? And we could talk about even what's going on with the attorney generals in the world. What is going on in the world today, okay? Why do we have such weak attorney generals? I'm going to talk about that today on the show because that's a big deal, okay? All the way from the feds, all the way down to your local states. You know, what is going on and why is it happening? And I've got an opinion on it, folks. You know, but we're our founders, okay? 4th of July is coming up. And, 1776 is a big deal. 4th of July, we all know what that is, okay? But what about what Thomas Paine said in the American Crisis on December 23rd? 1776. Do we have something on that? I think that's an important thing. You and I were discussing that, Eric. Here it is right here, the American Crisis. Okay, what's important to know about this is that, what they call them, Sunshine Patriots. What was that, Eric, back then? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, he called them. He said that he opened up his first pamphlet, which was one of 13, and he said this was 5 months after the Declaration of Independence was sent to the king. He was trying to encourage the troops. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country.
Think about that, folks. You heard the saying shrinking violet, right? That you've heard fair weather friends. That's what this is the time, like Thomas Paine said, that tries man's souls. And he means mankind, by the way, not that women. Okay, sorry. I can't wait to have that conversation with the woke. Bring it on. Let's go. Let's talk about that. They're talking about mankind, okay? The odds are that when the stuff hits the fan, people duck their heads and they go deep into the foxhole, okay? And that's what he was worried about. And if you think about that versus right now, okay, and, back then, there was no history of people being free. There was no place that you could look to and go, yeah, well, they did it over there and it worked out great. Well, we need to do it too. No, that's not what happened. Back then, they're saying, hey, we got a tyrannical king. We have King George III. We got this punk that's trying to, imprison us, take our arms, take our guns, take our land. Okay, we're not going to take it, right? Well, the fact is, back then, even after you have, moving from the Federalist Papers, you're moving to the Constitution, and then you have the Bill of Rights, you have all this. Well, back then, Thomas Paine, what's he worried about? He's worried, will people stand up? Will they stand up when it really comes time? And he believed there's probably a possibility that many won't. Now, we all know that history proved that, hey, there's a little bit about that. When George Washington, he lost just about every battle, right? And he had, his troops were down, his, not much to be happy about, by the way. You got winter, you've got a lot of bad things. You don't have food, they don't have a lot of money. You're dealing with, just bad situation. So what did George Washington do to get the morale up? Okay, go ahead and pull that up real quick, Eric. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about George Washington himself, this great patriot, okay, had to get the troops going. Okay, they're not feeling good. It's bad. Okay, so what did he do? Go ahead, Eric. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, it says Paine, who he brought the 13 diverse colonies together and to encourage them and motivate them as they were struggling in the harsh conditions of the winter in 1776. If you live in the East Coast of America, especially the Northeast, you know how miserable winter is. But Washington ordered that Paine's papers be read, and the first sentence especially that said, "These are the times that try men's souls." A pamphlet read aloud to the Continental Army on December 23rd, 1776, and it was read because they were 3 days out from the Battle of Trenton, trying to bolster their morale. And he continued in the letter, "Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph." So that is the closing. Hey, it's tough, but look at the glory and look at our nation when we're going to win. When we win.
When the going gets tough, the tough get going.
That's right.
Right? I mean, all these sayings, all these cliches, you could go through scripture and there's parables that Jesus talked about, motivating us to do what? What are we really asking ourselves to do? What were they doing back then and what are we doing now? What is the thing? What is it that we're supposed to get accomplished? Well, it's the same battle that they had back then is the same battle we have today. And you would think to yourself, well, why? Well, because human beings are human beings, okay? And scripture's real, and it's the same fight, folks. It's over greed, it's over power, okay? It's over the bribe, all right? The bribe, that's a big deal, folks. The bribe, the Biden family, the bribery that's happened there, the Russia collusion, the China Gate stuff, all that stuff is real. You got the laptop from hell, great book, by the way. You need to read it. The fact is that these are the times that try man's souls. And the founders knew this day was going to come. Okay. So you would think, though, back then, they didn't have anything to look back on. We've had hundreds of years, folks, that this country has been here. And we still have to try to figure out how to get the gumption up to defend ourselves. Well, why is that? Okay. Why is it that when you look at what we just watched with Ted Cruz, the FBI, I think it's Paul Abate, the deputy FBI director, he's getting all pissed off. He's getting, it sounds good. It looks good. It's great theater. But what happens after that? That's the key. There's a lot of bloviating that goes on in all over the place. Talking heads, people that do shows like this, and they just talk, and they get you upset. And I say it every time, folks, you're on the show. I promise you that I'm not just going to take your time and make you upset, though you are, or frustrated, and and just leave you hanging until, hey, tune in tomorrow at 2 to 3 o'clock. No, not going to do it. Okay, so what are we doing here and why? Why do I even want to do this show? Okay. And on the first show, we played a little bit about my history and some things that drive me. And if you want to go, you can see the archives under watch on craigbouchon.com. But I do this because I believe in the founding of this country, and I believe that America is here on purpose, and I believe through the grace of God that we're going to help as many people as possible be victorious while they're here on this fallen world. Okay. And the way that we do it, the way we push back, when you see people like Ted Cruz, how do we help him? Let's just say his heart's in the right place. He's doing it. He obviously, for sure, is an exceptionally good attorney, and he knows what to say and how to say it as a former Solicitor General. But how do we help? And a lot of you, most of you watching this, don't even know. You're not even in Texas. You don't know Texas politics. And he's there representing the state of Texas. Like you said, when I go back to Texas, they tell me we need to abolish the FBI. And then Ted goes, but no, we don't need to. But do we? Well, that's a big thing, right? When you say abolish the FBI, that's like saying Texas is going to cut itself, it's just going to remove itself from the union. It's not going to happen. Okay? California is going to break up into northern and southern California. It's not going to happen. The odds are very, 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 very slim that that's ever going to happen. So what do you do? I think you had it popped up there, Eric. You go to AmericaICan.com. I do this because in the show to inform you and to tell you, and we're doing this 5 days a week so we can try to get you the information and explain it where you can digest it and understand it and hopefully motivate you, okay, that you can make a difference. You can make a difference. I can, you can, we can. And that's why you go to American, okay? And it's right there. And you can read it. It's worth reading. It's not a long read. And there it is right there. Go back up. You'll see right on the page. We're talking about Benjamin Franklin, another founder of this country. We have given you a republic if you can keep it. Okay. It's another warning, right? It's the same thing that Thomas Paine was saying, but in a different way. Man, I hope that people show up. So then after the ratification of the Constitution, right, we've got all these freedoms, but we can't, even in this information age, we've been free for hundreds of years. We just can't get momentum. And that's on purpose, folks. You can't get momentum because it's designed that way. The infiltrators, the deep state, the rhinos in this case, Republicans in name only. This is an on-purpose situation. So the goal is we must unite. I don't care if you're Democrat, if you love this country. We don't have to agree on everything, by the way, just so you know. It's impossible. I'm a married man, and I don't agree with everything and with my wife, and she doesn't agree with everything with me, but we somehow work it out, and it's been a fabulous 30 years so far, okay? But the fact is, Democrats, Republicans, independents, none of the above, meaning that you're just disengaged. Many of you, millions of you are disengaged because you just can't take it anymore. It's unbelievable. Then you see what's happening with Trump. You're like, oh, yeah, whatever. You just wash your hands. Don't do it, folks. Go to AmericaICan.com. Sign the oath, okay? Print it off. Buy the plaque, a laser-etched plaque. Put it on your wall like I have back here. We got several different kinds. You need to get engaged, okay? And the way you do it is you sign the oath, okay? And we're going to have the people like Ted Cruz sign it as well, just so you know, because we're just getting this rolling. And we're going to be talking to the politicians. And it's going to unite us together, folks, okay? The only way that we're going to be able to win is together, okay? The enemy is among us. There's no doubt about it. And some might be in your own family, and that's unfortunate, okay? But the fight is now in America directly against the Republic because we are the last stand in the entire world for free people. Just that simple, okay? So go to AmericaICan.com, you got the citizen oath, and you have the candidate oath. Just read it. It's awesome. You know, Eric, that's what it's about. If you look at the warnings, it's all warnings. From our founders, they warned us, they warned us, they warned us. It's about what? About what's happening today. We're living their warning, okay? If you can keep it, folks, you have a republic if you can keep it. And they expect us to not pay attention, okay? And many people have not for too long. Most people don't vote like they should. And that's how you get these snake oil salesmen promising you they have the elixir to fix everything. We're going to fix the climate. We're going to fix, we got to, on that subject, George Carlin does a fantastic, the late George Carlin did a fantastic thing about environmentalism and the arrogance of of people, not just Americans, that believe that they control the weather. We got to pull that up sometime, because that's just a great skit he had. But Eric, I mean, that's the fact, right? It's a warning shot. We have got to get engaged if we expect to fix the issues. And the only way to do that is to unite and focus in on the politicians and focus in on the businesses that are working in the opposite direction of what we're talking about today. I mean, does that make sense, Eric, or what?
Well, yeah. I mean, think about it. Payne was trying to encourage the colonies who had already committed to fight the king. Yeah. You're in the fight. So, and I know some of you are summer soldiers, and some of you are sunshine patriots, and you're gonna shrink. But guess what? It's showtime. We are in this fight. We're either going to win or lose. We can either shrink, or we can rise up, and then we can enjoy the more glorious triumph. So they were in a lot worse position than we are, believe it or not. And so it's now time for us to get in the fight.
Absolutely. They weren't a world power back then. They were nobody.
They had little muskets against the most powerful military in the world.
That's right.
And they did it. And when they signed that Declaration of Independence, pretty much Franklin they signed their death warrant. They were going to die, because the odds of them beating the British was like 1 in a million.
That's right.
But they wanted freedom. They wanted liberty. And so they're willing to do it. And so Payne had to come around and say, listen, it's been 5 months. It's freezing out. You got Washington who's leading you. And guess what? Some of you are shrinking, but I'm calling you the warrior. I'm calling you the fighter who's willing to fight the tyranny, to rise up.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But let's also understand something. We are also a precedence that has been set. See, one thing that sticks out to me that you just said, Eric, is that a ragtag, really bunch of
farmers,
rebel rousers, as King George III would say, and farmers and people that were great hunters and understood the lay of the land, but they took on the greatest, mightiest military of the time. The enemy of this country also thinks that they are right. Look at China right now, folks. Okay. They're trying to take over the globe in real time. And we showed when this country was founded that you could be this ragtag group, but you could unite and you could take on a nation as powerful at the time as Great Britain. But that also in Great Britain was overstepping their bounds. They were doing things. They were cruel people at the time. The leadership. Are you kidding me? They were all over the place. You could go. What were they doing in Africa? I could go on and on and on and on about the history of Great Britain, and that's not a good story to tell for them. Okay, but America is a different kind of place. We stand in a place where a victory. We are the light. We are the place that we're the refuge, okay? But we also have a lot to lose, and the enemy wants to gain that ground. The enemy, you could argue, folks, that we've had it so good for so long, you haven't had to defend yourself. That's another reason we have American, by the way. Why do we have an oath? Why is it important to take an oath? I'm an American. That's all I need to be. No, it's not true. It is not all we need to be. We need to be Americans together, okay? We need to understand what it is to be America, okay? And that we need to know that you have to show up. You can't just get up in the morning and think it's going to happen on automatic, okay? It's all the things are going to be the same as they were yesterday. No, they're going to be worse than they were yesterday because we're not minding the store. That's what all this is about, by the way. All the problems that we have right now, not all, the super majority of the problems that we have right now is because the average American has not paid attention to what is the most important thing that they have, and that is their liberty. Okay. Oh no, I love my family more than well, I love this more than I love no, God, family, country. Okay. That's what we talk about, right? Well, let's just kind of mix those up a little bit. Well, God, of course, I know why. As a Christian, it's God. This nation, one nation under God. Okay. Family, okay, which is totally being destroyed right now. Okay. The family is under attack. And then you have God, country, family, mix them up. It doesn't matter which order in this conversation. All three of those need to be intact for this country to stay viable. They have to. And that's what our enemy knows. Our enemy knows that they can infiltrate and destroy the family unit, take God out of everything, and destroy the mindset of liberty in people by not educating them on all the great things of America and just cherry pick the things that have happened throughout history to make America look so bad. Okay. That's what all this is about. And if you don't know your history and you don't watch this show and you don't pay attention and you're just watching the MSNBC or the CNN and even Fox News today, unfortunately, it's crazy to say that. Look how fast things change. Okay. You just don't know what you don't know. And that's dangerous because we don't have a press. We don't have a press like we should have. Why do we have the First Amendment to the Constitution? This is the Second Amendment to the Constitution with the we the people, and you see everybody wear shirts like this that are cool, they're awesome, and the Second Amendment, and that's all great. That's the Second Amendment. The First Amendment is such an important thing to understand of why they lumped all of those together in the first. Okay, because that's the pillars that holds this country together. That is the stability. That's the foundation. Okay, we're a skyscraper. Look at the Liberty Tower, right? You have the Twin Towers went down, and what do we have? In New York City, you've got this beautiful tower that they built. Okay, this country, the stability of this country, is from the bedrock of its ideas. Okay. That people deserve to be free. Liberty Tower. You have the Statue of Liberty. Now, some would say that people are using the Statue of Liberty today to actually destroy the United States of America. Okay, we got to let all the people into the United States because they're poor and because they come from a disadvantaged world, and so you have to take them all in. Well, that's impossible, right? It's impossible. It's to show people to be a beacon. People should be replicating what we do, replicating America. Okay. But that's not what China's doing, right? They're picking the pieces of their capitalism, if you will. They're building electric cars, okay, with slave labor. As we say, I mean, the Biden administration right now, that we got to talk about that too. This falls right on the footsteps of what we played earlier with Ted Cruz, Eric, about being frustrated about what's going on. Tell me the truth. What are you doing? What are they hiding from us? I mean, how many people today, Eric, do you think when they watch Ted Cruz believe that he is going to do anything more than what he did there? Just talk.
Well, they wish. They used to expect it, but now they cynically can't because nothing has happened for years.
That's right. It gets worse and it gets worse.
Right.
It gets worse. How does it keep getting worse, folks? Why? How is it the greatest country in the history of the world is in the position that it's in? How? We've talked about it on the show before. If we took the Blind Lady of Justice, which is on the top of courthouses, that puts a blinder on and says, let's just weigh what's going on. On one side, you've got liberty. You have the United States of America, a country that was designed to let people have free will and to grow into just about anything they want to be. Okay. The right to pursuit of happiness, pursuit to make your life better, not a guarantee, to pursue it and have protections that people can't come in and quash you because they're stronger than you. So they're not going to allow you to be successful. Okay. Big farmer versus small farmer. No, that's why you have a judicial system, a court system, the separation of powers, all these things to help the individual, the liberty of the individual to be able to have a chance to have a great life and for it to get better, and then to pass it on to their children, and then that family gets better. And it's this evolutionary process that as time goes by, each family gets better and gets stronger. That's the goal. That's the hope. That's the idea. It's not the guarantee. So you have that on this side of the scale, okay? And then on the other side of the scale, you have China. China doesn't have any of these things that I just talked about. It's oppressive. Look what they're doing with the Uyghurs. Look what they're doing with their own society. Look at the way that they operate, okay? It's communism, all right? And somehow we're losing. This is losing. The scale is off. So what's the saying? Who's putting their thumb on the scale, right? Who's putting their thumb on the scale? Why do we keep losing, folks? We're losing because people have been allowed to infiltrate through politics because we have not paid attention. And they have now infiltrated for decades now. And they are in positions of power, what we call the swamp now, right? It's the swamp. That's just another way of saying these people they're entrenched into our DNA, into the fabric, okay, like a cancer. And we have to eradicate them. And it's not going to be by just voting in the next person, like a Ted Cruz, for example. He's been voted in now, 10 years or more ago? And here he is yelling and screaming. But as we're losing, they yell and scream as we keep losing. It's why? Because we don't show up. We, the people, have to show up. We have to get engaged. We just can't watch and then go, well, I got to go to work tomorrow. I hope they do a better job next time. Can't do it. No. We have to start getting engaged. And again, that's the focus of the show and the program that we're going to do, is to get people to figure out how they can carve some time out of their day, because it's every day, folks. We're not going to win this on accident. We're not going to win because we just showed up. No. We're going to win because we didn't just show up. We showed up prepared. We understand what the game is. We understand what the rules are, and we understand how they're breaking them. And then we have our own offense. I'm tired of being on defense, folks. We're constantly on defense. It's time to go on the offense. Eric, we've had many conversations off air. We do some of the prep, obviously, for the program. And sometimes, for me, it's just a matter of, I got to get things off my chest. I talk to people every single day, and they're like, Craig, what about this? What about this? What about this? And I'm like, Craig, why is it happening? And Eric, we sit back and we have conversations, and people need hope. Isn't that the message, really, of everything in life? Isn't that the message? Would people need hope?
Liberty is it's an overarching. If it's your liberty in Christ, liberty in the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. If people don't have hope, and hope is free will, and that gives you the ability to pursue dreams and to dream of a better future for your children and grandchildren.
That's right.
But yet people have been conditioned like the frog in the water, and they're starting to feel a little hot. So they're like, well, I don't want any more heat. I'm just going to kind of mix in with the rest of the dying frogs. I'm just going to kind of be not seen anymore because I don't want to be cancel cultured. And we need leaders. We need warriors. I mean, we were talking about the attorney generals. What happened to Trump's two appointees, Sessions and Barr? They were supposed to make a difference. They were supposed to fight the swamp and represent us so we could feel like there was hope that somebody up in D.C. was actually going to fight with Trump.
That's
and
right.
They let us down. So
that's right. Well, you would think that's one of the questions, by the way, that I get asked many times. What happened? Why did Trump appoint someone like Sessions? Why did Trump have these people around him that are now turning on him? Why did Trump? Right. That's a big question, and I think it's a fair question, especially for people who don't really follow politics, and now they're being forced to because their life is changing dramatically because the enemy is having their way.
These are some of the most powerful people.
That's right.
In our history, because Merrick Garland individually, he single-handedly has been able to use his prosecutorial discretion to divert all the attention away from the Bidens.
That's right.
And all the focus.
That's right.
Onto Trump. That one man. And he gets his marching orders from, I believe, Obama to Biden to him.
Okay. Well, let me answer the question.
Sure.
The way that it happens is that it's deep state. Oh, Craig, come on. No, folks, it's deep state. So let's just really explain what I mean by that. Is that, look at Jeff Sessions. Let's go back. Let's look at when Trump got into office. He's not a politician. Boy, he knows how to deal with the politicians. Okay. Because he used to pay them off to get buildings built. He knows how they work. And that's what scares the hell out of him, by the way. So Jeff Sessions that we have up here from 2017 to 2018, he is why we had Shifty Shift, for example. These people being allowed to do what they did to Trump to try to derail what he needed to get accomplished for you and I. Jeff Sessions instead, oh man, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Then why'd you take the job? Well, he took the job because the whole point is to stop Trump. The whole point is the deep state has to stop Trump. And you have Republicans who are rhinos who say that they are, we're for America, we're for you folks, please vote for me, I'm up for re-election, and they'll bloviate. But when push comes to shove, they don't really defend you. What's the case in point? What's going on right now with Adam Schiff? Is anything going to happen to him? What'd they do, Eric, this last week? Are they going to censor him anything? No.
Now we pulled up your Twitter page here. So
there it is right there. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it is. Go to Craig Bouchon Show Twitter page. I have it also on Spreely. I have it everywhere. I have a post up for on Spreely video. But here we are. It's right there. The list of Democrats and Republicans that got together needs to be known. Okay, these Republicans are the ones that need to be removed from office. Period. They need to go because they're failing you when the push comes to shove. Adam Schiff lied. Bold-face lied, okay? But so did Hillary Clinton. I could go on and I could go back. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. I mean, I could go. They're liars, okay? But they don't get held accountable because the people that are supposed to do your bidding, that you vote into office in a representative republic, like a Jeff Sessions, is supposed to not be best friends with the president, by the way, not their job. Not to do the bidding of the president, not their job. It's to be best friends with you, to be best friends with liberty, to be best friends with America, American values, our founding values. They take an oath, folks. They take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, and then they don't. That's why you're in a situation that you're in, because these people break their oath and they believe, like Ted Cruz said in the video we watched earlier, you believe you're above the law. You believe that you don't have to answer to the American citizen. And the fact is they don't. They don't. to date because we, the people, didn't heed 1776 and then 1778 and the ratification of the Constitution. We're not listening to our elders. These people believe they're above the law because they are above the law until we hold them accountable. Remember, they work for us. United we stand, divided we fall. And that's the job of the enemy, to keep us divided. By brand of politics, by brand of God, by brand of food that you eat, boy, girl, man, woman. All these things are of the enemy. They're demonic. They're of the devil. It's just the way it is. We played Steve Berger in the past on the show. We got to get him on the show, Eric, by the way. I'm working on that, by the way. I'm going to get him on the show because there's a warrior right there for Christ and for you and I. But the fact is, ladies and gentlemen, that these people raise their right hand and they lie. The way you hold them accountable is by you showing up. Okay? Yeah. Barr. So, hey, what happened to Bill Barr? What happened to William Barr? He was supposed to be the savior who's swooping in, and Trump's building them all up, and he's pitching them like a salesman that he is, and saying, Barr, he's an old school good guy, and he is not going to allow this stuff to happen. Sessions is a weakling. The law is here. There's a new sheriff in town. Well, that didn't work out, did it? No. Because of what? Because of the deep state, folks. Because of the connection, how the fabric. Remember, there's only 4 years of Trump, and it was really only 2 years. If you really add up all the things that need to be done, okay, with all the attacks that happened during the Trump administration, he maybe got 1.5 years or 2 years of any real political things that we needed to have done. And he got a lot done. But as soon as he was out, the deep state still so there is that, oh, forget it, wipe it away. We're not going to have the Keystone Pipeline. Fuel is going to skyrocket. But remember, Biden it was the vice president of, Obama. And Obama said, costs are going to have to necessarily rise. They're all connected together, folks. They're all connected together. And the only way we're going to fix this through the grace of God in heaven is for Christians, every single Christian in this country, folks. And I mean real Christians. There's a lot of fraud in the churches. There's no doubt about that. And that's why they have not been doing their job as well. Sorry. Okay. Christians must unite for the United States of America to survive. Period. If Christians do not unite, we are going to fail, because the only reason this country exists is because God allowed it to be built to begin with. Okay? Period. He allowed it to be built to begin with. That's why it's free will. That's why liberty. That's why you have the ability to, one person has protections under the law of the land, is that you get to be a free human being the way God wanted you to be. Okay? Try that in Russia. Try that in Iran. Try that in, almost anywhere else in the world now. So Christians must unite. Strong churches must start speaking. And they're out there. There's Steve Berger. There's Alan Jackson as well. Not the singer, but Alan Jackson. Look that person up as well. And we're going to do that, Eric. Eric, you're a strong advocate for the Lord. And
Amen.
We need to... We got to put a list together of the preachers that are speaking the word. I think it's only fair that the people know that there is good news out there. It isn't all doom and gloom, folks. It's not. But there's a lot of doom and gloom. Okay? This is not time to be a sunshine patriot. This is the time to be warriors, like Michael, the angel. Okay? It's time to fight, and we have to fight the smart way, not the unintelligent way. And that fight starts with God, family, country. So, Eric, I think we need to do that. We need to put together a list of the preachers that are out there that people can turn to and compare what they're saying to maybe the churches they go to now. Because isn't that part of the problem, Eric? You've been speaking the word of the Lord for years. Isn't part of the problem that we have too many churches out there that are not giving people the facts to be stronger individuals and to help, in this case, save the republic and to save themselves, to save their souls? Isn't that really the problem? Isn't that one of the major issues? Is that the enemy has infiltrated, churches as well?
Yeah, there way too many churches, pastors, leadership teams they're running their church as a corporation for profit.
Yeah.
And people don't like to be told they have cancer, just like they don't like to be told they have sin in their life. So they get their ears tickled when they go to false churches because they're told there that you'll be all right. You just got to confess, tell God you want a Mercedes.
Accent?
Well, that's Joel Osteen down in Texas, you just got to say, God, give me a Mercedes. He'll give you a Mercedes.
It's look, folks, it's so funny that he used a Southern accent because I live in the South and I have for many, many, many years. And there are a lot of people with heavy accents, either from Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, that are just fed up that their church is not fighting. And what does that mean, fighting? How does a church fight? By speaking the word of the Lord. By truly speaking the word of the Lord. It's like Eric just said, people don't want to be told they're sick. People don't want to be told much of anything negative now. It's all feel good. And why? So, when you talk about a Joel Osteen, for example, Joel Osteen, I've watched him several times, and he has a big, big, big house. No doubt about that. I think he could find a better way to spend the money, but that's okay. That's another conversation for another day. But it's just feel good. If people just think they're going to show up to church and it's just about feeling good and it doesn't have the accountability and it doesn't give you marching orders and they think they're going to tune into their politician that they voted in and they're just going to feel good. Look at them fighting for me and woo, I did my job. I voted. No, you got to be engaged. You got to read your scripture and then you got to read your policies and politics. You got to stay engaged. You should pray every single day to the Lord, but then you should also communicate, at least through your paying attention to what your politicians are doing, as much as possible, because that's the only way to victory. That's it. There's no other way to victory than if we have to bring it all together. Okay. That's why AmericaICan.com. I'm going to say it a lot because the oath, if you pull the oath up really quick, I'm going to go over that again because if some people didn't see the last show or the show before that, and this might be your first show, and welcome, by the way. The oath is very important. And we have a citizen oath that's pulled up right now. Eric, read citizen oath, and then you can go to the website. You can sign it. You can print it out if you want later. We can send you a cool copy if you want. You can buy a really nice plaque that's laser etched. There's some cool things that hang on your wall because it's a big deal. It's very, very important that we have that in front of us all the time, that we've signed the oath, this oath right here. Go ahead, read the citizen oath or pledge. Go ahead, Eric.
I solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of a citizen of the United States of America. If the candidate I vote into office is found to have broken their oath, I will work to remove them from office by impeachment or repeal. So help me God.
There it is right there. And why is it right there? There's a key part there. Through remove them from office, through impeachment or repeal. Because here's what the enemy wants you to think, folks. And some of you right now have not voted in a long time. And many people think, why should I vote? It doesn't matter anyway. They're all crooked. That's what the enemy wants you to believe, folks. The enemy wants you to believe that you shouldn't vote because it doesn't matter anyway. It's the opposite that's true. You vote because if the scumbag does get in, and they just lied and cheated and stole all the way through and they get in, then you have the ability to remove them. If you don't vote, you can't. And if Christians don't understand that they are a very, very powerful group in this country, folks. We are the largest group in this country. The largest group in this country is the Christian. Not white, not black, not Hispanic, not Chinese, not Japanese, not Native American, Christians. The largest group of people in the United States of America are Christians. Our Christians need to get together. If you're a follower of Christ, you know what it is to take an oath or a pledge. You swear, I swear. All this is to remind us that there's a job to do as Americans. That's the job. And when we do that, and then we put a plaque on the wall, or we print it out, or we screenshot it and print it out, or download it on my phone, or take a picture of it after you signed it, whatever that is. Okay. Have it in front of you so it reminds you that there's a job to do. Now, really quick, because we got about 3.5 minutes here left in the show, let's go to the candidate oath. The candidate oath is very similar, but there's a key difference at the end. And go ahead, Eric. Thank you.
This is the candidate. This is the ones that are going to sign on to want to be accountable. I solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of which I am about to enter. If I am found to have broken this oath, I expect to be removed from office by my electorate. So help me God.
You see, that's the connection, folks. That connects the two. No other place can you go in the past, ever, where an American citizen will take the same oath that the politician does, except the very end, that shows accountability for both sides. That's powerful. Where the oath, if you see a candidate, let's just play this really quick here. Let's just follow this through. We got voting season coming up, and a candidate stands on the stage, and they're talking to you, and it has an American pin. I'm going to show you guys some American pins. They're beautiful. Next show, I'm going to show it to you. And I'm going to have shirts, hats, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be like a NASCAR driver. That's what I'm going to do. Because it's important to get the message out. But you know, when you see that politician get on stage and they have that American pin or cap on or brooch or whatever, got lots of cool stuff. And you have that as well, and they have it. They connect you. Okay, it's stronger than the NRA. And I love the NRA. It's stronger than the UAW. It's stronger than any of these teachers' unions and all that stuff that needs to be removed. That needs to go away. Other story. It's strong. It's the strongest thing, and it's never happened before in the United States of America, where people are connected to the politician. And you can see if wait a minute, they took the oath. They took the oath. They took the oath that I took. They know the oath I took. I know the oath they took. And we're Americans. We're Americans. Well, there you have it. That's a huge thing. They know that you're paying attention, that you will remove them from office if they don't do their job. So they're going to focus on their job, folks, a lot more when they know you're watching. Okay? That's a fact. Well, I'd love to go on. Again, I thank you so much. We got about 19 seconds, Eric. Eric, thank you so much today. An hour goes by so fast.
Sure does.
Fast. Go to CraigBuchanshow.com. Go to AmericaICan.com. Go to Spreely.tv. Go to Spreely. Download the app. See you later. God bless.